Welcome back to another exciting episode of Four Wolves Takes, where your boy Artis Woods will bring you four fresh Minnesota Timberwolves takes. It's a pleasure to be here today. Like usual, it's an honor, and I can't wait to talk some Minnesota Timberwolves basketball with you all today. Again, welcome back to Four Wolves Takes. A little bit of basketball has happened, not a lot, just a little bit. We're about 7 games in. The Wolves are 4-3. There are some things I love, some things I like, some things I'm like, yo, come on now. We got to be better. But at the end of the day, like I said on the first episode, and I'll continue to say until maybe the midway part of the season, maybe All-Star break, it's still early. It's still very early. I feel like we won't get a feel for what this team really is until maybe 25, 30 games in. Is when I'll be like, all right, I think we know for sure what this team is. Once they get the rhythm going, once they get the rotations together, once they know exactly how they want to run. I mean, the bench right now is playing lights out. The bench, you got players on the bench playing better than the starting lineup right now. So there's a lot of things that can be tweaked and adjusted. So I don't want to read too deep into it. Just like the first episode of the season, I don't want to read too deep into it, but I do have some early takeaways, starting with the first takeaway of the day. I remember before the second game of the season was played, I came on here after the Laker game and I said, man, it's going to take Julius Randle some time. It's going to take him some time to find his rhythm, to find his groove. That take was inaccurate. That take was inaccurate. First take of the day, Julius Randle has found his groove, and it didn't take him long at all. I said what I said before. It's going to take Julius some time. We should be patient. Give him some time to get his feet underneath him. And like I said, that was inaccurate. He followed that Laker game up with a 33-5-4 performance, a 24-9-5, a 27-7, a 23-6-7, a 21-5-2. I'm not going exactly in order right now, but y'all get the gist. The boy playing extremely well, averaging 21 points a game, about 6 rebounds, about 5 assists, and shooting 57% from the field. Julius Randle is playing great basketball. I love what I'm seeing. I think he is doing an amazing job of picking his spots, just picking his spots. He's not going out there. You know, it seemed like at times for the Knicks, he had to do a little bit more, especially before, they made the move for Brunson. It seemed like he had to do a little bit more at times, a lot more at times. He was the main focal point of the offense. And so he had to take over games nonstop. But with this team, it seems like, hey, I could just pick my spots. I got Anthony Edwards. I got DiVincenzo. I got Naz Reid. I got a lot of other players that can go get a bucket. So I don't have to force it. I don't have to force my shots up. I can get my shots whenever I need to get my shots. Whenever I'm feeling it, whenever I'm in the rhythm, I can go get my shots. We're seeing Julius Randle initiate the offense, playing some solid point forward basketball, a willing passer, willing facilitator. We're seeing him rebound at a high level. I liked his defense so far this season. I think his defense has been solid, very physical. I like what I'm seeing from Julius Randle. And like I said, I'm happy about the fact that it hasn't taken him long to find his groove. I really thought it was going to take Julius at least 5-6 games to really get it going like that, especially with a new team. I'm thinking not only does he have to get his feet underneath him, he's got to find that chemistry with the new basketball team as well. But it's like, man, him and Anthony Edwards playing like they've been playing together for a while already. I mean, it's great to see. Even great, Julius Randle, forget what game it was off the top of my head, but Julius Randle had a fast break, got the ball, could have dunked it, laid it up, but decided, I'm going to pitch it back to Anthony Edwards and run back down court. That type of chemistry right there, man, unselfishness. Hey, man, I'm going to give you this bucket. You take it away, man. You just love to see it, man. So I love what I'm seeing from Julius Randle. He has found his groove. I know this is not earth-shattering information at this point. Y'all got to excuse me. This is the first episode I've been able to record since the first game. So we got to talk about how well Julius been playing since the last time I talked about Julius after the Laker game. So shout out to Julius Randle playing great basketball. On to take number 2. Anthony Edwards, my boy, keep shooting the tray ball. Keep shooting the threes. I must admit, y'all, I got to be honest with y'all. I pride myself on being real. To start the season, the amount of threes Anthony Edwards is taking, I'm like, yo, I don't know how I feel about this. Because you look at a star like Anthony Edwards, a superstar like Anthony Edwards, his athletic ability, his physicality, he could get to the cup at will. Especially with all of these shooters surrounding him on the court. You got a handful of shooters now that you can line him up with, so it makes it easier for him to get to the cup. You can't really double team him and form walls and things of that nature. You know, play that defense, that triangle defense the Suns was playing. You can't really do that as much with the amount of shooters that the Wolves have, especially when they're hitting, right? So I'm just thinking, man, a player like Anthony Edwards could at will put pressure on the rim, at will put pressure on the defense by getting downhill, getting to the basket, dunks, layups, and getting to the free throw line. He can do the same thing with the mid-range game. He can get to the mid-range game at any point in time. So a player like him, that's kind of what I was looking for this season. But I got to give credit where it's due, man. After continuing to watch and observe, I'm like, bro, keep shooting the three. Not only did he say he learned a lot from Steph during the Olympic run about moving off ball, one of the other things he said he worked on a ton was his catch and shoot tray ball. He said it himself. What's something else you worked on? Catch and shoot tray ball. He been working on that 3-point shot, and it shows. The man is shooting right now currently about 11 threes a game. He's shooting 45% from the tray. 45. Some people shooting 45% from the field. Kobe Bryant was a career 45% shooter from the field. Anthony Edwards, 7 games into the season, is shooting 45% from the three. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. I know he said in his press conference the other day, he like, look, I forget, I believe it was Dane Moore who asked him, you know, how do you feel about, you know, what do you have to say about people who say you are taking too many threes? He's like, man, forget him. That's not really what he said, but we know what he said. Forget him. And it's like, hey, man, I feel you, because I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest. I was in that camp first probably 3 games. I'm like, he's taking a lot of threes. Feel like he's settling for the three a little bit. You could get to the cup. But now I'm like, hey, bro, you got it. Shoot at this type of clip. What can you say? What can you say, man? Like I said, a player like him, hey, man, if you worked on it all off season, display it in the games. And it's still early, too. It's still very early. So go ahead, display what you got, man. I'm not mad at it. Keep shooting the tray, especially if you're shooting at that clip. Keep shooting the tray. I still say don't shy away from getting to the basket. Don't shy away from getting to the free throw line, to the mid-range shot. But while the three is falling like this, man, if you want to put up 12, 13 a game, who am I? I'm just Artis Woods. Who am I to tell you not to shoot the tray? Hey, keep pulling. Take number 3 on the day. Jalen McDaniels, man. He's got to be better. Jaden's got to be better, man. This is the one take that's the uncomfortable take for me, because I don't want to get on any player for how they're playing in a negative way. So I'm going to keep this one short. Jaden McDaniels is a player that I think a lot of us fans are expecting to take a step. As an offensive player, mainly. Defensively, we know what he brings to the table, but we're expecting him to take a step offensively. And we have not seen that step. Now, again, it's very early. It is very, very early. But right now, he's averaging about 9 points a game, shooting 43% from the field. He's getting frustrated. He's getting in foul trouble, right? The defense is kind of hit or miss right now, too. It's kind of hit or miss right now, too. I do expect him to be better. In order for the Wolves to be what we think they can be, I should say what I think they can be, because I know everybody doesn't agree with my opinion. A real championship contender, Jaden has to be a force, I believe, on both sides of the basketball. I think he's got to be a threat from the outside to shoot the basketball, a threat to put pressure on the rim. I think at times he may have to be a playmaker, just depending on the lineup that's out there. And he's most definitely, above all, got to be a great defender. Above all, especially now without Karl Anthony Towns, without Kyle Anderson, who took big steps defensively last year with this team, he's going to have to be a defensive anchor. Him and Rudy Gobert, these two guys, they got to be defensive anchors. Now, Rudy's defense, I have not been mad at this year so far. 7 games in. He's defense player of the year. I think he's been solid. But Jaden, it's been hit or miss. It's been hit or miss, man. So I don't want to spend too much time on that take. I think everybody has talked about it for long enough. I think he knows he's not playing his best ball right now. I expect him to be better, but he has to be better in order for this team to make a run, a true run. We've seen how the Wolves look when he has really good games. 9 times out of 10, if Jaden is playing well, the Wolves win that game. If Jaden going off for 15, 20, 25, they done won that game. Because 9 times out of 10, it's efficient. And defensively, since the offense is going, the defense is right there with it. So if he's going, normally the Wolves are going. But if he's off these games, it'd be a little tighter. It'd be a little tougher depending on what else is going on in the ball game. So I think Jaden is really the X factor when he really has it going. He's not the most obvious. I mean, you could throw Nas Reed out there, of course, too. But when Jaden has it going, the Wolves are a different basketball team. We need Jaden to get it going. We need him to get it going. And the last take of the day. The Wolves know how to bounce back the right way. The Wolves know how to bounce back the right way. So I understand right now they are 4-3. But the thing I like about the 4-3 start so far is there are no back-to-back losses. You lost to the Lakers opening night. You bounce back. You beat the Kings. You come out and you beat the Raptors. You take a tough loss to the Mavs, which hurt my soul because I thought that was going to be a nice early revenge game. But Luka shooting the ball from half court. What can you say? Right? You lose to the Mavs, but then you come back. You beat the Nuggets in a very tough game. Great game. Then you come out and lose to the Spurs, but you bounce back the other night against the Hornets. There are no back-to-back losses. And one thing that championship teams do, they use every loss as a wake-up call. Every loss they get, it's like, all right, we ain't losing another one. We not losing the next one. That's like a rule of thumb amongst championship teams, I believe. We don't lose back-to-back games. So while it's a 4-3 start, I firmly believe that when the Wolves, make it all click, when the chemistry is all there, when everybody is on one accord, offense, defense, coaching, everything is where it needs to be. When they go on a run of winning games, it's going to be hard for them to drop 2 games in a row. And that's going to be huge later down the stretch of the season. It's going to be big. So while the 4-3 record isn't super like, oh my gosh, they're 7-0, like, I think the Warriors got a loss, like the Cavs or like, whoever else is undefeated right now. I ain't paying much attention to anybody besides the Wolves. But while they're not undefeated and playing amazing basketball while they try to get this chemistry down, it is important to highlight they're not taking back-to-back L's. I think that is huge. And like I said, it'll pay dividend as the season progresses. Because the Wolves will go on the run. We won't see win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss. Like, it won't go like that all season. Once they get it together, they'll get a run going, and we'll see a well-oiled machine. They got the team for it. They got the pieces for it. We talk about the bench, how well they've been playing. I still don't like the fact that we're not seeing a lot of the young talent. Maybe it's just me. I need to see more Rob Dillingham. I didn't want to make that a take again because I made it a take last episode, but it's how I feel. Might not. I don't mind seeing him. TSJ, I'm just saying, but it is what it is. I think they're going to go on a run. I think they're going to be just fine, coming down the stretch of the season. Midway through the season, like I said, 20, 30 games in, we will have a good feel for who this team is. For sure. That is all I have for y'all today on this week's episode of 4 Wolves Takes. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. It's important, y'all, that you don't overreact to these early games, especially while they're trying to get the chemistry down. Do not overreact. Do not overthink. There will be some early bumps in the road. But I firmly believe when it matters, the Wolves will be at the top of the Western Conference. I'm not backing down off that take. They'll get it together. Give it some time. The Wolves will be just fine. Thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of 4 Wolves Takes. I'll catch y'all next time.